There has been a lot of talk. Whoa. There has been a lot of talk recently about the whole business acumen side of things and how to operate or run a business, blah 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 blah, from people who are probably experienced and at the same time people who are not experienced. And therefore, I have decided to make this video and simultaneously a number of videos after this, which I will call a series of commercial knowledge series. Now, commercial as a word, now to begin with, just means the whole concept, or I'd rather say a process of business. Everything that you hear about in all these videos from other people about business are all relevant to this word called commercial, because they're all commercial procedures within a business that lead the business to either work or not work at the end. And what people don't sort of master is the commercial aspect of the business. Now, for the purpose of this video, like I said, I'm going to make a whole series of commercial videos, and this is the first one, and I'm telling you why you should be listening to this, because like I've mentioned previously, I have worked in the commercial space, in the development construction side space for close to a decade now, and I've always worked for a company that has a very strong and established commercial base, and myself have been in commercial roles. I've learned a huge amount, and maybe I can share one or two things. Like I said, this is my journey pop, so listen to it or skip it, really up to you. But first things first, the word commercial, like I said, in general just means the process or the steps or protocols to be followed within a business. Now, there can be multiple things. The business operates in two sort of segments. One is the commercial arm, which is highly focused on financial side of things, as well as, like I mentioned, procedures to ensure that the company follows the right criteria for finance, for financial issues, and whatever money sort of comes within the company is used in a very systematic way. Hence why we call it procedures, or a whole array of systems, if you may. The other division is the management side, which is really your day-to-day operations and logistics. Now this applies to any sort of business. You would usually have two arms. I'm working in a development / construction area, so I see in a lot of big construction companies or development companies, two sides again are. One is the financial side, like I mentioned, which is heavily focused on the finances of the company and how to use that money to fund a project, to obviously make the company money, and obviously at the same time managing all the expenses as well. Whereas the other side is the management side, which looks after the site, procurement of the site, procurement of the construction material, etc., etc. Now, they still are intertwined, and one obviously works by the knowledge of the other. Because if you don't, for example, simple example would be in the construction industry, if you don't know how much budget you have, you can't really figure out what exactly you're trying to build. Or, on the other hand, if you know exactly what you're trying to build, if you don't know what you're trying to build, but you have a bunch of money, you'll never be able to come and meet that final goal, the final objective, which is, like I said, building things. That is the same for a IT company. It would be the same for a law firm, whatever it is, whatever business it is. At the end of the day, it essentially comes down to two of these main two things. Like I said, financial procedures and management operations, day-to-day logistic items. The financial side, what they do is set a budget for, like I mentioned, for any business, forecast it, and ensure it's implemented or executed in a specific order to again enhance the profitability of the company. On the other hand, management or operation, logistics, whatever you may say, handles the daily activities, monitors progress, and provides feedback or progress updates on how to, or essentially how to improve your daily logistics, which again results into increasing profitability. It all, at the end of the day, comes down to the big number called profit. Now I'm going to get that into profit in a different video, but to understand in a very simplistic way as to how every business operates, again, just a commercial knowledge, nothing to do with business experience on all those things, even though despite the fact that I am trying to pursue a business for many years, it's irrelevant of what people say experience can gain. Obviously, yes, experience in the field will make you go ahead a lot further, but knowing that this set of knowledge is actually known as commercial is a very and anyone can learn it, is something that people don't usually tell. So this is something that we're focusing on. So like I said, the financial side of the will focus on making or setting up a budget, then forecasting that budget. Now forecasting, a lot of people would either be like, what does that mean? Or some people like, how do you forecast and blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to go through it briefly. Forecasting essentially means the cost or the lump sum. Again, lump sum means a bucket of money that you may have. Say, for example, you have $100,000 and you're a operational company and you're wanting to implement that money into various resources of your company to expand or to grow or to come across your your procedures or logistics, like I mentioned. Now you have a budget. Say, for example, you have a big bucket of money, $100,000. How do you know and what do you know what to spend it on? That's what we call forecasting. So forecasting essentially is, in simplistic terms, means to take that money and divide it into separate buckets, separate times, separate reasons as to why you're going to spend it and how you're going to spend it, or is there another way to save money from here or do this and that. So essentially every month, I think every company would come together in a reporting time period towards probably either end of the month, at the very start of the month, or mid. Usually it's always at the start of the mid-month after you've paid all your bills and your accounts payables. Then you know exactly what you're forecasting for, what the next month should look like, how that money that you've saved or you profited from is going to be spent or is going to be expended in the next month. Now this is extremely important. Forecasting, I cannot explain how important forecasting is, because that essentially gives your superiors, yourself, a guide into how you should expend that money into future, to gain the best results and to maximize the opportunities. This is a thing that a lot of people lack, the knowledge of forecasting, and it's something that is a huge and a very long topic and cannot be explained within this video, but for your simple understanding, that's what forecasting is. Next step, like I said, you need to execute it. Once you have the budget and you have forecasted what you're going to do with it, you need to execute that. That's where we come to the management side. The management side takes that budget then, or takes that forecast and executes it in daily, day-to-day operations, in your logistic, whatever the business is, trying to achieve, obviously. And then obviously provide a feedback at the end of the month back to the commercial team as to how they went. Where did we lose money? How exactly can we forecast it better? What are the buckets or the areas where we should forecast a lot more money and put a lot more money so we can expend, because we thought that X would cost us $300, it actually ended up costing us $2,000. So that's a huge gap as to how we're going to cover those gaps, etc., etc. That's what is the management's responsibility to manage day-to-day operation. It's literally in the word itself, management. You manage your day-to-day operations. You give feedback on the forecast, and then commercial goes again and retweaks either the forecast or says, we actually don't have enough money, we're losing money, or in some cases be like, wow, we actually are making a lot more money and making heaps more margin. So that's what happens. That's how a business, in the most simplistic terms, a commercial sense of knowledge gets you. Like I said, commercial, very important topic. And I'm going to be bringing a lot more series along the way. So I hope you stay tuned and get some commercial knowledge into you for your day-to-day business or whatever you're trying to run. Because if you master this, you're actually going to be able to go a lot further with your business and get the results that you want a lot quicker. I'm not a master business guru or anything. This is just something that is very basic and simple commercial knowledge, and that's what I'm trying to put forward for the best of your use. Thanks for watching.